Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. G'day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, be first one getting all the insight. Now today's video, we're gonna discuss what actually will prevent you from working in Australia. And obviously Australia has been one of the nation with, I think it's the highest minimum wage. So it's actually very attractive for a lot of people, even people coming from Europe, UK, and United States as well. Not just talking about countries in Asia, but all around the world. But there's actually a prevention on people actually access, or migrants access to work rights or work limitations. Now, why is it important? Well, obviously the government of Australia wanted to protect the Australian citizen first, or the Australian permanent resident first. However, there's also a need of employment, especially post-COVID, post-pandemic. There is a skill shortage, especially on the rural side where the agricultural primary production is generically not many local domestic Australians would like to work there, so they will open up visas or perhaps opportunity or work rights for people to actually help out as well. But despite of all these attractions, there's also limitation, and in this video we're gonna talk about some of the visa constraints that will actually prevent you from working in Australia. A lot of people come to Australia, they probably won't even have any idea because they probably first arrive to say, look, it seems to be a beautiful country, I just wanted to tour around. But spending a couple months down the track, they thought, oh, why don't we work and get some job going, and perhaps there are local friends, recommending you to actually get some work or job. But you got to be very careful, because if you trigger and breach the visa condition, your visa may be ripped and be kicked out, deported as well, canceling your visa. So you got to be very, very careful. Now, obviously on the immigration side, there has been a lot of talks on the need of skilled migrants and things. But look, you got to be very careful. If you don't hold the right visa or visa condition, you should not really work, and really seek for something else and lodge for. Now, the first visa I wanted to talk about is the student guardian visa. Now, obviously there's a lot of mother and some father do come along with underage students just to accompany them as a student guardian. Now, we got to understand, as a student guardian, you have the full custodian right and also care for your kid, for your child. Now, student guardian is also open for relatives as well. For example, brothers and sisters, they can be older, or for example, uncles. For example, grandparents. Now, these people are not directly connected to the child, him or herself. So it's very, very easily for these people to start looking around, perhaps find a way to actually get a job or work, pay by cash. Now, this is not lawful. Okay, I never recommend, as a student guardian, you should do whatever the visa allows you to do as a guardian. Take care of the child that you are a guardian for. So a lot of people come and say, look, I hold this visa is still valid for 2 or 3 years, or perhaps 6 months. Can I work? Can I just get a job, go to work, or pay by cash? You got to be very, very careful, because over the past 10-20 years now in my practice, and I have seen live people get caught, and not just your visa get cancelled, but the kids or your child's student visa get cancelled as well, because he or she no longer have a guardian anymore, and the visa has been breached. So you got to be extremely careful. Now, talking about this one, a lot of people also query and come and say, look, Carl, I understand that I'm currently holding a student guardian visa. I cannot work. But there's actually an employer really eagerly wants me to work for him or her, for the company. I would like to transfer my visa to a 482 visa. So a lot of people will come to me and start talking about subclass 482. Now, I've done a series of video about 482 visa. Now it's coming to a new policy where they're gonna abolish the skill occupation list, but currently you still need to check out all the eligibility. First of all, whether or not the employer is eligible to sponsor you. They might be banned. They might not have enough financial to be approved standard business sponsor. You need to check all that out. Now, you probably won't be able to because the employer don't want it to, disclose his tax and documents and numbers to the potential employees. So you may need to contact a specialized agent or migration agent or lawyer to actually facilitate the three parties. So the specialized professional could actually check for you. Very, very complicated, right? Now, even if that's done, you need to still think about the eligibility to allow you to actually lodge 482 visa. I've recently come across a client. She actually said, look, I'm in this situation with 590 visa, but I would like to transfer to a 482 visa. Now, one of the 482 visas clauses says that you should have at least closely related work experiences for at least 2 years within the past 5 years. So then the question asking back whether she does have those 2 years within the last 5 years. So today is 2023. So counting back 5 years ago, within that time period, window or period, does she have that 2 years of work experiences? And the answer is no. So she still, even though she thinks she is skilled and experienced enough to actually take the job, but perhaps the visa eligibility might not even meet the criteria. So that's another constraint there. Now, as we have moved into 482, there's also a prevention where if you have been sponsored by someone, by a company under 482 visa, you shall not really work for someone else or for some other company as well. You got to be very careful, because if that's found out, your current employer could actually lodge a report, and your visa is likely to be cancelled as well. Now, if you're in a situation where you believe that there is an opportunity to transfer, you really need to contact the new employer and to get all the proper documentation right, and also communicate with your existing employer as well, just like normal. You need to talk to your current employer and look, I think this position does not suit for me. I really need to go. I wanted to go, move on, and be a good people, be a good person. And once that's done, that should all be good. Now, the other thing is the work limitation on international student as well. Despite that, the new policy does allow the international student to work for 48 hours per fortnight. Now, previously, before pandemic, it was 40 hours per fortnight, so it's 8 hours increase. But you still got to be very careful. You don't want to overwork, and if somebody dope you in, your student visa is likely to be cancelled as well. So recently there has been a major law reform will be coming, where they gotta scrap the original genuine temporary entrant and introduce a GST, not the goods and service tax, but genuine student test, where they're gonna enforce more condition on the student visa, where they do not like there has been too many private institutions trying to defraud the system, getting international student in. Especially there has been a 60-minute report where a student coming in, but they know they are not going to study. They're actually being putting into full-time or perhaps overwork for some other companies. So these type of things will actually come in. I think Australia Department of Immigration will be utilizing Australian Border Force to actually do more maintenance and checkup in the coming future. Now, last but not least, obviously a lot of people would like to access to the skill migration scheme as well, and where obviously the point is due to have a major amendments there, but there's definitely some points to actually gain for work experience as well. So whilst you're in Australia, why not get some job and work and accrue those potential skill points? Now that might be a good idea, but you still need to be thoughtful about your current visa. What visa you hold, can you actually work or not, and how many hours can you work, and have you done your skill assessments? If you haven't done your skill assessment, all these work might be trashed, or put it into rubbish bin. So you got to be very careful and check all these out, understand your rights and how many hours you can work, or perhaps you are limited or restricted to work at all. Anyway, this video provides you some thoughts and perhaps planning before you come to Australia as well. Anyways, if you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.